Hello, Peter Charleston here. I'm going to talk to you a bit about ego today, and just to give you a little snippet of what our Thrive Learning program is all about. It's an online self-development program, and we do talk a little bit about ego in that program. It's because it's all about self-development. We do a lot of what I'd call psychological skill building. So I'm just going to show you some slides. We've got about a dozen slides to go through, not many. And just to illustrate what we're talking about. So to me, I use the term ego to describe your image you have of yourself. So it's whatever you've made up in your own head about who you are. That can be similar to how other people perceive you, but it also can be quite different to how other people perceive you. So your self-image, the way you've constructed it, can either help your performance or sabotage it. And that's what today I'm going to be talking a little bit about. Your ego is very results driven. So in other words, how you feel about yourself depends on how you've interpreted the performances that you've experienced lately. And this is all subjective too. You might have done a fantastic performance in something, yet the way you interpret it is it's not good enough. So the way you interpret things has a lot to do with how you feel about yourself. Some people need to achieve a lot to feel good about themselves. Others don't need to achieve much at all to feel good about themselves. So again, this whole concept is very subjective, but I'm talking about it today because it is what gets in the way of performing well at anything. How this happens is that your ego can be very fragile and sensitive and insecure. And when it is, it goes into either inferior mode or superior mode, or both. And these modes are all about how you compare yourself with other people. So the way it sabotages is when you're overthinking and focus so much on comparing yourself with other people and will I be judged, and oh, I'm going to be so embarrassing, etc., etc. This is your insecure ego going into inferior mode. Superior mode is more in terms of I'm so great, I don't need to put the training in, for instance. So whenever you go into these modes, it sabotages performance. You can experience both extremes as your ego bounces from one extreme to the other, and this is even more sabotaging for performance, including in relationships. So the big question I have for you today is how often is your ego fragile as opposed to secure? Secure as in you feel okay about yourself, you feel okay about your performances, you know you're doing your best, and that's enough. Whereas on inferior mode, you never think it's enough. And on superior mode, you think you're fantastic, but your results don't actually show that. So on both extremes, you're not allowing yourself to learn and grow. That's why we talk a lot about ego within the Thrive program. So the fragile ego is riddled with fears, fear of what other people might think of you, fear of failure, fear of being embarrassed, fear of being an imposter, fear of people laughing at you is very common when you're stuck in inferior mode. So in inferior mode and superior, both extremes are very needy for validation from others. Please tell me I'm good. Please tell me I'm doing well. Please tell me you love me, etc., etc. So when you become preoccupied by these things, you don't actually perform well because your mind is not actually focused in the present moment. To be focused in the present moment is a really important skill for any performance at anything. And it requires you to have a strong ego to do that. So when you live with a fragile ego, you care way too much about what others think and how they perceive you, even if you don't care, if you pretend that you don't care at all, you still do because you're so focused on it. What your fragile ego also does is it feels threatened all the time by these comparisons and by other people. So you react to this by becoming defensive or being in denial or deflecting responsibility for things. So this slide kind of reflects that it's not a peaceful way to live when you're stuck in inferior mode or superior mode. But this is a lot of people are used to being this way. This also, you could call that a comfort zone. If you're familiar with putting yourself down or putting yourself up, being overconfident, you can easily stay stuck in this image you have of yourself. So the fragile ego, in other words, makes you quite self-centered, which again sabotages performance and relationships, because it's very hard to connect with anyone when you're so focused on yourself. You can change. You can learn to find the center between the two extremes by worrying less, fearing less about what other people think. A lot of finding the center has to do with getting a better relationship with yourself, not putting yourself down so much, not putting yourself up so much, but simply focused on doing your best, monitoring your progress when you do your best, and focusing on that, focusing on your own strengths, what you value, and making the most out of your opportunities. That's what being centered is all about. So self-awareness, becoming more aware of the insecurities and how to heal yourself from them, actually removes that self-centeredness. We talk a lot more about this in depth in our Thrive program, but I just wanted to give you a brief introduction to some of what the program's all about. We have a range of topics, each one being 30 minutes of a video, and we also give you comprehensive workbooks for each topic, which helps you reflect on your behavior and your performances, and gives you lots of hints and tips on how to improve. We also have live coaching sessions regularly and an ongoing community feedback and support online. So where people encourage each other to do their best and help each other out. So this is all about improving your psychology so that you can improve your life, both in a personal sense and a professional one. If you want more information, there's a number of free resources on our website, particularly on the Thrive program page. So I hope you got something out of today, got you thinking about your own ego, and hope to see you soon. Thanks for that.